Hello. Hello. We got our first viewer. Hello, viewer. What's up, Testy Cool? Thank you. I am actually eating. Hope you don't mind. So, since you're here, we're just gonna get started. Everyone else, we're getting started. Testy Cool was the first person to jump in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start. And he realized that I'm eating, which I am. No shame about that. Okay. Let me pull up my Notion right here. And then, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Every Saturday I go for a run, and it's 4.5K around my city. And yeah, this week I really needed that run to clear my head, because once you physically exercise, you get tired. At the end of the day, you don't feel like your thoughts are running, and you make better choices. And I've been making better choices, I think. Yeah. So, maybe pull up Notion. I'm gonna show you what that looks like. Today, we are going to talk about custom slash commands. I personally never use this, but my friend's been telling me about it. And I thought, let's learn it together on stream. Everything else here I've used. Maybe hooks not so much. I've used the SDK extensively to automate stuff. I use subagents sometimes. Yeah, so custom slash commands is something that's new to me. It's obviously it's not super complicated. That's why we're gonna look at it together and try to learn it, and then build our next feature. I'm really excited to get back into building, because last time we were able to make some progress with BrowserBase and Stagehand. You were around, I think, and you saw how we were able to, spin up a headless browser and do all sorts of things. So, yeah. Let's see. You also don't use slash commands? Yeah, I think, like I've been telling people, these products are built, like these are very early days of these products, right? Like Cloud Code came out like what, a couple months ago? Not even a year. So a lot of features are getting pumped out, and they're placing bets essentially to see like what people are actually using. And if you build products, there are metrics that you can use to track like whichever feature is getting used more often than others, and you put more resources into building those. So custom slash commands is one of those things that it makes sense, and then if you don't have a problem to solve with it, sometimes you might force yourself to use it, which in my opinion doesn't make sense, but we're gonna take a look at it anyways, because we're open-minded, right? But I just need to look at this error real quick. So when we publish, interesting, so that there's no, why doesn't it make sense to force yourself? It's because you want to be solving problems always. Like when you're forcing yourself to learn a thing without really understanding why it was made, it's you indulging in learning for the sake of learning. And academia folks do this really well. I personally find it really hard to learn something without a clear sense of why I'm learning it. Like when I was in college, I'd be taking like classes to fulfill my general education requirements. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, what's the point of doing all this stuff, It's hard for me to force myself to pay attention. But you know this feeling when, let's say, you've been working on something for a long time, and you've hit your knowledge ceiling of the topic. Whenever you see a breadcrumb of like the next piece to learn, you just grab it, right? You're just like, I'm just gonna learn the shit out of this because I know that I need it, essentially. So what I'm trying to say is, your learning will be expedited when you have a clear reason for why you need to use something. Like, let's say tomorrow you need to ship something, otherwise you get fired, and it requires you to learn, I don't know, slash commands. You will 100% dedicate yourself to doing that, right? But if it's like a fine day and you're like, you know, maybe everyone's different, but for me, it's hard for me to justify doing that. Oh, I see. There's an issue with me publishing versions here where the version number is being duplicated. Okay, so I need to fix that first, and then we're gonna jump right into our slash command things today. So from my understanding, slash commands is just a quick way for you to like have shortcuts, which means I have to understand what are some of the things that I do so often in Claude Code repeatedly that I can save time on. So all I'm trying to say is you can learn all this shit and then you still won't be able to build something cool. That's a possibility right there. But if you focus on building something cool, that path will lead you to learning the right things for you to build something cool. That should always be the goal in life, which is you should have a goal of what you want to accomplish and then be open-minded to pick up things to get you there. The tools are supposed to help you get to your destination. The tools are not your destination. No one should ever make it their goal to be like, I am the master of Claude Code. I know all the 50 features it has. Especially if you're trying to find a job, nobody's going to fucking hire you because you know all the 50 features in Claude Code. They want to see your impact. Have you reduced cost of your organization by 50%? Something like that. But yeah. That's why polyglot people who can jump from one programming language to another, or who jump from one industry to another and perform equally well, they have a mindset or a framework for problem solving, as opposed to like, I'm just going to bring all the tools that I knew from my last job to my new job. That will, I know people like that, and then they get so upset why they couldn't get any further, and it's because they're tool oriented. They're not solving problems. They don't understand what the point is for the organization. The point for the organization, for a business in general, is for you to make stuff happen, not for you to master 50 whatever. I'm just gonna stop ranting, but I need to fix this, and to fix this I need to give it to Claude essentially. So whenever this package we push to our main branch, we publish to npm registry so that you guys can use this CLI tool. But we have an issue here. We have a problem with publishing to npm. Here's the logs. Figure out where our publishing script is, process and scripts are, and fix it. And then I'm just gonna copy this. And then this happened at the build, test, and publish release job. This happens in the build, test, and publish release job. Boom. Regarding being tool oriented, I noticed myself do this lately. It's like procrastinating when I hit a challenge. Next thing you know, man, that's great self-awareness right there. I have a friend who's the head of design at the last company that I worked at. And this guy worked at like Trello, Atlassian, all these places. Great designer. He always tells me that as a designer, when he hires somebody, or like when he's evaluating a designer, it's never about whether or not the person knows how to use Figma or anything like that. It's whether or not the person has a mindset or a framework towards solving users' problems through design. Like, can they pick a problem and work backwards and then use the right design elements or approaches to solve that particular problem? Design on its own is in self-indulgence. That's why you need to throw in UX and not just UI. So that's his philosophy. Like, a lot of this happens in every industry. Like, you go to photography, you will see like people with like crazy expensive lenses and gears, and like they shoot the same fucking photos that you would see on, like, I don't know, like they'll shoot the same things. And what people don't realize is that it takes even like 5, 7, 10 years to even find your own kind of voice in photography. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What kind of story are you trying to tell? What are you trying to prove? Rather than like, oh, look at how blurry the background is. Because even AI can do that now. And like computational photography from like an iPhone can do that now. So it's self-indulgent to be focused on gears. Like in playing sports as well. Like, people keep saying like it's about the game. It's not about the gears. Like, stop buying gears. It's self-indulgence to be sucked into these things and like not doing actual work, you know. And these things sell because people are always procrastinating. Like you said, people are always procrastinating, and they're looking for these things to look at and think that they're making progress, but they're not. Why am I ranting today? I'm actually feeling good today, but I need to read this plan real quick. Fix NPM publishing issues. Okay, missing distribution, CLI.js, shebang. This word is so funny. I never looked this up. What does this mean? A matter operation. Shebang in programming. Hash bang. Pound bang. Oh, I see. Okay. I never knew what it was, and I keep seeing it. Gets compiled, but npm might not resolve it. Version conflict, fatal error. Okay. I wanted to be able to. Can we make it so it bumps version number up automatically? Yeah. I think that a release process could also use AI, so that the AI can look at the diffs and maybe like some documentation about a recent change in code base and decide whether or not it's a minor update or a major version update. I think that'd be cool. Alright, I'm just gonna do that. I don't really care. Okay, so while I was doing that, I'm gonna pull up another Claude. Oh, not this. CD develop. Oh, what is this? Oh, this is another Claude right here. So we can clear it, and now we can take a look at custom/command together. Custom/commands Claude code. Again, I'm not opposed to learning new things, but when I learn new things when I don't need them, it's really hard for me to have it stick. Okay, so these are the built-in /commands. We add directory. Okay, so my question is whether or not this is adding the directory to the file system or like adding it to the context of the agent. Add additional working directory to the context of the agent. Okay, I'm assuming you can use this to do like workspace stuff. Agents, yeah, manage a custom sub agents. Yeah, report bugs. Nobody ever uses this except for Anthropic themselves. Clear conversation history. Compact conversation with optional focus instruction. Oh, that's cool. So usually when you type in a bunch of stuff in Claude and it's been a while, the context window gets filled up pretty quick. And Claude Code automatically compact, aka summarize your conversation history. But I didn't know that you can pass in an instructions. So you can be like, summarize, but since we're working on this task, leave, more details about a particular thing, for example. Config, cost, doctor. This happens when you, maybe you install Claude Code in the weird way. You can run /doctor to reinstall it, essentially. Help, get usage help. I wonder what's inside of help. Does it actually teach me how to use this? Okay, so it gives me all the commands. It tells me how I can use it. Okay. Yeah. Init, initialize CloudMD guide, which we talked about yesterday. Log into your account so you can start using. MCP, manage MCP connections. I personally don't use MCP servers a lot. I think I haven't found it to be useful. I had Vercel's hosted MCP server, so it can kind of bring me documentation as I ask things about Vercel when I'm coding. But I found the chunks that it responds with were incomplete and weren't super useful. So I found that compared to how I usually do it, which is I put my documentation URLs inside of my ClientMD file to be more performant. So for example, like this. Like I find this to be way more performance. It knows exactly which website to go to and scrape and then read and then answer. But yeah. Tell me if Context 7 is useful. Is it always up to date? Is it like extremely useful? Let me know, because I heard about Context 7 a lot. Okay. Permissions, you view or update permissions, model, change the AA model, so usually Claude Sonnet or Opus. But there's also this mode where you can do you can use Claude Sonnet all the way through. You can use Opus all the way through, very expensive. Or you can use Opus to plan and then Sonnet to execute, write code, etc. And it doesn't say it, but usually when it reads a file, it uses Haiku to summarize or something like that. Request code review, okay, /review. I never tried this before. Review a pull request. I'll have you review the pull request. Let me first check what open PRs are available. Oh, okay. So my question for you is, do you find Context 7 to give you exactly the piece of documentation you need all the time? Or do you find yourself kind of like having to morph the query a certain way for it to work? Okay, so you can help me review PRs. That's cool. Status, view account, and system statuses. Terminal setup. Install ship enter key binding for new lines. Okay. Vim mode. So if you use Vim key bindings, you can enter Vim mode. Custom stash commands allow you to define frequently used proms as markdown files that Claude Code can execute. Commands are organized by scope. These are prompts. Okay. This might be useful. I take back what I was gonna say. I can think of a few things that I always say over and over. For example, when it makes a plan, what I always do is I don't accept the plan right away, but I tell it like, hey, make sure you've explored all the relevant files and make sure you understand the code structure and how our code base works, so that when we implement this plan, we don't change other features and it doesn't break the whole app. I find myself doing that a lot, so I'm gonna add that. So whoever that is who told me to check out, who pressured me to check out custom stash commands, thank you. I probably need this in my life. And this has been a recurring theme in my life. I'll be like refusing to do something for the longest time, and then once I do, I'm like, oh, I should probably have done this a long time ago. But my argument still stays, which is you should be problem solving oriented, because if I wasn't problem solving oriented, I would have been able to put a proper use case to this in like 2 seconds, because I spent all that time building and eating chicken on stream. Okay. Command types, project commands. Okay, so you can store that in your project repository. Okay. When listed in help, these commands show project. Okay. Create a project command, make directory, clog commands, echo, analyze this code for performance. Okay. Personal command. Okay. Commands available across your projects. I wonder if you can use this with hooks. That'd be interesting. Features namespacing, organize commands in subdirectories. Okay. Subdirectories for organization. Appear in command description. Okay. Okay. Arguments, pass dynamic values. Oh, so your custom commands. So far as we know, custom commands do not run scripts. They are prompts, but they do take variables, aka arguments, and we can pass stuff in it. For example, fixed issue, and then you can pass 1, 2, 3 in here. Fixed issue 1, 2, 3. Cool. And you use this to put in the argument. This is actually cool. Yeah. Bash command execution. Oh, okay. Execute bash commands before slash command runs the exclamation prefix. The output is included in the command context. You must include allowed tools with the bash tool. You can choose. Okay. What this means is that we can run maybe a lint command, and then we can just exclamation mark, and we can run this custom slash command that is literally just a wrapper around a prompt that says fix this or something like that. Maybe say understand this deeply and then fix it. Slash commands can trigger extended thinking by including extended thinking keywords. Ooh. Suppose you're working on a complex architectural decision, challenging bugs. I need to implement a new authentication system. Think deeply. Okay, so just to think deeply. You're finally thinking of the follow-up prompts. Think about potential security vulnerabilities. Think harder. So the key is to say think deeply, think harder. Think. You say think. Think. Tips to get the most value out of extended thinking. Extended thinking is most valuable for tasks like planning, debugging. Yeah, I've been wanting the shortcut to have Clog ask me clarifying questions. Absolutely. The problem with custom slash commands is that you have to remember to run them. With hooks, for example, it runs at different intervals in your life cycle using Claude, so you don't have to remember when to run them. They run automatically. Continue in non-directive mode. Okay, this is cool. Shout out to my friend for telling me about custom slash commands. How can I be somebody so conservative in a field that is so fast moving? maybe I'm scared. I'm scared that things are moving so fast I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Front matter command file support front matter, useful for specifying metadata about the command. I don't know what this is. In publishing, it's the pages and sections at the beginning of a book. Oh, okay. Table of contents. In the context of technical documentation and content management, it's a YAML block at the top of the file containing metadata, such as title, author, tag, dates. I see. So we can publish slash commands and basically put ourselves at the author or something like that, and then share with other people. For example, this is a markdown file. allow tools bash. I thought you're conservative to not get distracted by noise. So in life there are always a good reason to do something, and there's always the real reason to do something, right? The real reason is always something that we use the good reasons to justify doing it. Um, yeah. So when somebody tells you something for the first time, especially in business, it's usually the good reason. Like, I do this because I enjoy, you know, helping people, blah blah blah. But there's usually something deep down in that. And I'm not saying the real reason is wrong or like immoral or anything. It's just very human. For me personally, you can say that my good reason is to not get distracted by noise. But that's just me coping, because deep down inside I'm like, I'm not comfortable talking about stuff that I don't know by hand or have used in production. And I'm afraid of looking like an idiot if I talk about it. Yeah, that's the real reason. But yeah, the good reason is I don't want to be distracted by noise, because I know everything, right? I know exactly what to do. All the times, always. I have the answers. I have all the answers. No, I don't. MCP/commands. MCP servers can expose prompts as /commands that become available in Claude Code. Oh, this is actually quite interesting. And this only works with Claude Code too, because like, if you consume an MCP server using Cursor, I guess there's no /commands. Command format, MCP commands follow the pattern, MCP server name, prompt name. Okay. Oh, let me read this again. Let me reiterate this. MCP servers can expose prompts. So prompt is one of the resource units on an MCP server. So you can do tools, you can do prompts, you can do resources like files, and you can do a whole bunch of other things. You can also ask your MCP server to run the LLM on the client side as well. So here, Claude Code is just treating prompts available from an MCP server as /commands. So how we do it is we say /MCP --_ the server name from the server MCP server, and then __ the prompt name, which belongs to the MCP server. Pretty neat. I bet you $500 that nobody ever uses this. Because nobody even put prompts on MCP servers either. It's mostly tools, and barely see a file sometimes. Yeah. Features. Dynamic discovery. The MCP commands are automatically available when an MCP server is connected and active. Server exposes prompts to the MCP protocol. Yep, like we said, the prompts are successfully retrieved during connection. Yep. Okay, arguments works the same way. Naming convention, server and prompts are normalized. Spaces and special characters become underscores. Names are lowercase for consistency. Managing MCP connection. That's not I'm talking about MCP. But we can create our first custom /command. Also, I learned something new today, guys. I was watching this. I've been watching this YouTube channel for like the longest time in my life. It's been very helpful. I think it's called GG Gamer or some shit like that. It's like a psychotherapy for like degenerates who play a lot of video games, and mostly men. And there was an episode today about how it has nothing to do with any things that I'm about to talk about, but it's about how like when we're burnt out, we don't make time for like or have enough headspace to consider other people's perspectives. Maybe so when sometimes I find myself not considering other people's opinions or feelings and stuff like that, even though I'm naturally like not that kind of person. Now looking back, I think that I was burnout or either like was too ADHDing or burnout. So somebody told me to try out /commands. I'm like, shut the hell up. Like, but now we're reading it. And it's like it's actually pretty cool. Like now we have more knowledge. You know what I mean? And this happens over and over. Like I'm just like somebody tells me to check out something really cool. They think it's really cool. I'm like, you're an idiot. But then I try it. I'm like, no, you're not an idiot. I'm an idiot. So how do we make any custom /command? So command name and then arguments. That's how we run it, but how do we make one? I guess we have to go into this file and then create one. We can't just be like slash add command. That's not very user friendly. Let me see if I can find anything about it. Nope, doesn't seem like. Oh, manage IDE integrations, nice. Yeah, doesn't seem like there's anything. Ooh, context, visualize current context usage as color grid. What? Ooh, now this is cool. This is cool. This is the kind of stuff we nerd out about. Like look at these nice icons. You know what I mean? Oh, custom what? What? What do you mean? I don't have 388 custom agents? What? What is this? Memory files. Yeah. Cloud code, some call them rules file. They call it memory file. Now this is interesting. But I don't know what the hell this is. Okay. Command store in your repository, share with the team. Okay, so I need to create it. So I gotta make a directory like this. And then save it to a markdown file. It's cool. You can totally do that. I wonder if we can turn into a bash mode so we can just run bash in here. That'd be sick. But I don't think we can do that. So if any questions, let me know. Happy to answer questions. Okay, so I'm gonna create well, I have the folder already, I believe. Yeah, that Claude. And then I just have to create a commands folder. Commands. Okay, but before we do that, I gotta release this. Okay, hopefully this works out. Okay, so is it that I have to increment this number every time? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Do we still need to go into package.json to increment the version number every time? So I'm just gonna ask that. Let me go back here, and then we continue with our stuff, which is to make a command. So commands, and then here, as far as we know, we just make a command here. Be like, make sure you understand. But it has to be short, right? Because like it's a shortcut. So, plan check. Yeah, plancheck.md. And here I'm assuming it's just gonna be string, yeah, like this. Yeah. But I can also like do something like this. Bash command execution. Okay, allow tools. Okay. Formatter, that's what I was looking for. Command files, support, formatter. Okay. Also can, I can specify which model I want to use for the slash command. Now that's cool. Argument hint. This is cool. So far I don't have any like repeated workflow that I can think of, so I'm just gonna create my first one. But this is cool. Like I could specify like, okay, only run the slash command using Opus or something like that. Like plan better or something like that. Only use Opus. Make sure you understand the where all these changes, touch and understand the whole code base and relevant files deeply, and that when we make these changes, it won't break existing features. That's what I usually say after a plan. Let me double check this. Do we still need to go into packages? Workflow automatically handles version bumping. Okay. If version GitHub Actions checks npm. If version exists, automatically increments patch version. Okay. If version is new, use version as is. Commits the change back. You never need to manually update that because the workflow reads current version. Okay. Commits the change with skip CI to avoid loops. Only time you need manually change. Oh, okay. I see. So it'll actually check my major version, and then if the major version is already there, then it's fine. The version I set is just to fix the immediate conflict. Oh, okay. See, that's quite nice. Push. All right. Hopefully that works. You guys have any questions about anything? Let me check the chat real quick. I mean, it's a Saturday, I guess. Testicle, you're the only person watching right now. Which is cool though. One person on a Saturday. All good. We're doing this for the reps. We don't. If you're the only person here, we get to talk to each other. You know, like no big deal. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody right now, honestly. Okay, so it's running. Hopefully that works. But we go to the project. Let's go to the next task, and then we can try out. But before doing that, quick 2-second break to cut my chicken and eat. Yay! Release. New release. Let's go. This actually has browser-based stuff. You know what would be cool though? If we can set up like an npm, like a headless LLM call in our GitHub action to look at the recent commits and then write what's new with the proper like summaries of like what actually happened. I think that would be pretty sick. Yeah, but it needs to be something that's cost effective and not like Cloud Code. I don't think I want to do that. But like a proper, you know, this thing would be nice. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to my projects. Oh yeah, projects, more greater. We got add browser base, done. Simply spin up a session, go to CNN. Yep, that's done. Create a new feature in the CLI app to spin up one headless browser. Okay, now we're gonna hook our grading thing to the CLI thing. So let me find the database for the homework real quick. Short 2 homework. Hello, Mike. How is Cloud Code better than Cursor? It's more cute. Many ways, and it's very nuanced. For example, when I use Cloud Code, I don't feel drained. When I use Cursor, I multitask more, so I feel more drained. Cloud Code's agent system prom is apparently much more performant than the agent on Cursor. Probably because the people who built Cloud Code are the people who also build Anthropic models, so that's probably why. Okay, so what I realized is that I don't require my students to submit the working application on their form submission. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create that for our bootcamp, and then maybe add a few things here and there to see, like, you know, because there's no data for our students' live application. So let me go to homework submission. I'm surprised I didn't ask people for this. Join just now. Could you summarize what you're building and current goals? Absolutely, Mike. Welcome to the stream. Here, let me tell you. So I have this project called Homework Grader. So what this does is it allows an instructor like myself to gather people's homework submission, like 50 at a time, and then run this tool, and then it'll actually spin up like a virtual sandbox somewhere, like a container, and then clone all of my students' repo into it, and then have like an LLM go into each of the repos and give people like feedbacks. So that has been done. You can actually download this and use it today. Like it's on the npm registry. It's a CLI tool. Works really well with Notion. The next step we're trying to do is we're trying to make it so that this not only grades people's code, but also grades people's live application. So what I mean by that is people submit their live applications URLs, usually a web application, and then we spin up a headless browser using this service called BrowserBase, and then we give it to an agentic framework like Stagehand, and then we give it some instructions, usually from the student, saying like, hey, here's my app, it's supposed to do this and that and that and that. We tell the agent to go and enter the URL, go to the website, click around, see if you can sign up, and see if what the student says was actually true, and see if the app works. So yeah, being able to like review people's homeworks or code and application, essentially, both in the code base and also live in production. And we've already added BrowserBase yesterday, and we added Stagehand, and Stagehand was able to. There was some errors though. So Stagehand was able to navigate to a website and click around, but we couldn't do extraction, aka getting information out of the website, because there's a miscompatibility between Zot 3, which is what Stagehand uses, and Zot 4, which is what is most up to date right now, and is what I use in my code base. So we had to get rid of the extraction test. But stick around and you'll see exactly what I mean. I'll show you how the browser works and stuff like that as well. So welcome to the stream, Mike. And today we learn about I think slash commands, custom slash commands from Cloud Code. So these are all the built-in commands, and we're gonna create a new one. The one that we created was let's say check plan check, which is just like a prompt that I usually type it myself by hand, but now I can just do slash plan check and it'll run this for me in Cloud Code automatically. Yeah, so today is the day that we try to justify using custom slash commands essentially while building out this new feature. So yeah, stick around if you want to join us. I'll be coding for another maybe like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, because it's Saturday and I'm trying to eat my chicken. But I'm also very curious how far I can take this. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I'll be happy to answer. And if we know each other in real life, let me know too, because sometimes people that I know hop on here. Then I gotta talk differently. Create new feature. Oh yeah, this is what I'm trying to do right now. So we need to first basically clear this, and then we need to go into plan mode, which we are in, and we say Now that we have the test functionality for browser for stagehand and browser base, we want to build a real feature where the grading process start and it should do all the sandbox deployment and stuff like right now. Then on stage 2 it would first prompt the user then find the column that has high probability of containing URL to a deployed application. And I'm gonna have to put in some bogus ones because I forgot to collect those things from my students, so I don't have any data on that. To deploy application, spin up one browser instance and let stagehand agent try the app for a bit, like 30 seconds. And I wonder if I can do 50 at a time. Browser base parallel request. So this doc is about concurrent browsers, but we want to save money. We want to do one browser and fire off a bunch of async calls, essentially. Browser automation becomes powerful when you can run multiple browser sessions simultaneously. Okay, whatever. Limits. Okay. Let me ask Perplexity. Can I send parallel requests to the same browser session in browser base? I hope so. Because we can do that for our sandbox. I hope we can do it here, so it's so much faster and I save money. Caveats: single browser session represents one remote browser. Multiple clients can connect to it and act on the same session concurrently. Practical concurrency is limited by a single browser's event loop, tap resources, and your account session concurrency limit. Okay. Reconnecting or using the same session can be kept alive and reconnected later. Ooh. Live viewing attachment. Platform supports connecting the existing session. Okay. Constraints consider session concurrency uses plan limits. API for creating a session is rate limited by plan base. If running multiple sessions, you must stay on one session. Single browser, multi-actor. Okay, yeah, that's what I need. Although multi-actor can issue commands, the browser processes sections in one runtime. Okay. Parallel commands will contend for control. Ooh, what if I create new tabs? Each tab has an agent messing around with the repo. Otherwise, I have to pay like $20 a month to have like a whole bunch of browsers. 20 bucks a month for 25 concurrent browsers. I don't want to pay $20. Constraint, okay. Long running control. Light parallelism on one session. Mike, amazing, excited to join. Been building regression models for predicting case settlement amounts based on large docs and other numerical features. Any advice? Trying some EDA work with agents. That sounds like a statistical analysis thing. Um, for like statistical and like data analyzing stuff, I usually just throw it into there's like a ChatGPT mode for it used to be called code interpreter. So you throw in like a CSV file, whatever, and you can ask it multiple questions, have it analyze things for you. I just don't have a lot of experience doing that, so I can't really help you. Quick question: don't understand the use case for browser-based other than automated testing for web dev. Well, this is another use case, which is I'm trying to review an application or like a live website and give that to my agent as opposed to like me doing it. But you gotta understand that the browser is probably the perfect API interface, right? Like this is how humans interact with the internet. If you build software, you know that how difficult it is to get access to certain types of data, and it's incredibly hard to get the access to those data on the interface that we humans share, which is the screen in the browser. That's why we have to rely on API integrations directly. But if an agent can do all that stuff on the same interface as everybody else, like our humans, man, the possibilities are endless. You can tell it to go book a vacation for you or something without having to authenticate with like TripAdvisor API or whatever, or ask to be in a partnership with any of the companies. Because as far as the browser knows, it's another user agent. Yeah. Yeah, we as developers have to think about the real world out there outside our computers. There's so many things that can happen once we let an agent let loose on a computer or a browser. The possibilities are endless. It's just that right now it's very costly and they're not super effective at controlling browsers. So we might be sitting here thinking that, oh, what other use cases do we have? But so many, so many. And you gotta understand that this field is emerging. That's why sometimes you might be the first person to come up with a use case. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can do one browser for all the repos. Can I put each agent on a separate browser tab or something? Because it's going to be going to a different website, right? So if it's a browser session, I wonder if it has to be on a different tab or something. Browser-based support multiple tabs. Yeah. Decrease round trip time by running browsers in your region. Okay. Yeah, this is what we need. Oh, what? Avoid using multi-tap browser sessions. We support browser sessions with multiple tabs, but depending on the workload, you will likely begin to notice worse performance with more tabs. We don't recommend this approach. You'll get better performance by using multiple single-tab browser. Because they're trying to get my money. How many tabs are we talking about here? Like 2? At least 2 is like half the cost, right? Because half the time. So if we pay for let's say if we pay for the $20 a month thing, we get 25 concurrent browsers. If each of these browsers has 2 tabs, we can cover 50. The maximum amount is like, let's say like 8 tabs. I'm happy with it. 8 tabs at once or 4 tabs at once. I'm happy to be on the free plan. To keep one browser, to keep it free. Giving prediction LLM spin thinking LLM can extract more info from docs that can be used. Trying extraction of the large docs using directly LLM without embedding them. Have you tried large extractions? Are you talking about entity extraction? Well, in that case, I guess you don't need to embed anything, right? Unless you talk. I'm assuming you're talking about vectorizing things for like retrieval or something like that. Have you tried large extractions? I'm assuming you're saying that your documentations are large and you can't pass them all into one LLM to like summarize. Or some sort of like searching. You can read the document in chunks and summarize each chunk. So what I would do is I would probably run it in a loop, maybe run an agent where it's like read the first 1,000 lines and then extract there, and then read the next 1,000 line, and then maybe update the overall understanding of the document plus extracting the next set of entities, the next 1,000 lines, and do that recursively until the end. The key is to use a competent model to control the loop as the agent, and a less competent model to read the 1,000 lines or like however large the chunk is, to then summarize and either get your entity extraction out or like update the summary of the document, because you want to keep like almost like an overall understanding of the document always, as you're going from chunk to chunk. And I'm not talking about vectorizing anything at all here, because vectorizing is for a retrieval / recommendation / search problem. It's not like a Earlier was using embedding, very expensive. If you were using embeddings and it was expensive, I don't think the approach that I'm telling you is going to be less expensive, because embedding models are very cheap. Now try and structure output extraction in the same agentic way you described. Any example of this? When you use Claude Code or Cursor, you'll see that it reads your code file like hundreds of lines at once, and it uses the model that you chose for it as the main agent loop, and then it uses a different model that is smaller, more cost effective to read the files. So like when it's reading the file, you can read. The thing about reading files is that if you have a sort of metadata you can rely on, or maybe like some sort of like a abstract from the document, you can rely on that, and you can run your read process in parallel, so you can read like multiple chunks at the same time, so it's much faster, and it's not going to be more cost effective than what you try with embeddings models, because embeddings models are very cheap already. Like this is going to cost you maybe like 10 times more than that. Is it going to be more performant? Probably, but cost you more. You can also use regex and a bunch of other stuff to look for like headings and stuff like that, and then potentially like only look at those and extract information that way. But if your corpus of text is so large you can't even put into like a Gemini 2.5 flashlight, because it's like a million tokens context window, then you have other kinds of problems. It requires a different framework to resolve that. Yeah, don't use Ada. Ada came out like many years ago. Unless you have a requirement to use Ada. Use something like if you stick with OpenAI, use embeddings v3, which has a small and a large variation. Use a small variation. There's not much of a difference. Yeah. You can also use open source models. So if you use open source models, self-host or host on a service that is hourly based, they don't charge you by the tokens, so you can just run it. It's gonna take a long time, but you don't get charged by tokens. So at a certain price threshold, right? It makes more sense for you to do cost per token, and then at a certain price range, maybe much larger than that. It makes more sense if you run it through like a per hour basis. And also try batch processing. That gets you a 50% discount on most providers. Anyways, I need to go back to this. Gotta try to get this to work. In parallel by using taps and send requests. Stagehand in parallel. Yeah. So I think I need the documentation for taps. Multi-tap. Each tab has a unique live view URL. Ooh. Limit to 10 tabs. Yeah, let's try this. And then I can hear some docs about tabs from Stagehand. Boom. Okay, let me answer your question. An example of such service like hourly thing, you can go on RunPod. So RunPod to rent servers, or okay GPUs, and then deploy your models on there. Yeah. So something like this. Deploy Llama models, anything, Quen code, or you can use something like Modal. Pricing. Or you use the new open source OpenAI model, which is pretty nice too. And then you can rent these GPUs, right? This much per second. And how many seconds are you in a day? So 36 seconds for an hour times 12. I mean 12 hours. So this many seconds per day. Times this amount. And then we'll know exactly how much it'll cost us per day. B200 versus H200. I haven't heard of B200. Are they any good? So it costs you $100 a day essentially, to run one of these GPUs. And then you have to factor that into like how long it'll take to process these documents. If the cost comes out to be you run this for the whole week to process everything, then and it turns out to be much cheaper than dollar per token, then go with this. If not, then go with something else. I'm assuming your indexing process only happens once, right? It's not like frequently. So every new document that comes after this batch could, use tokens, dollar per token, and then this whole big batch could be like running off of one of these things for like a week and eat the cost. You're welcome, dude. This is actually an interesting question, so thank you for asking. Okay, so this is our chance to use our / command. Plan check plan. Oh my god, check plan. Can I do this? Is that what it's called? Plan check. I don't think anything happened. I thought I thought. Do you have a Discord community you could join? Had lots of ideas. Absolutely. Here's the Discord that I am on. Let me share it with you. Let me know where you're based out of as well. Put it in the chat where you're based out of. I might have a community for you. So, this is my main Discord. And then this is Discord that I am teaching in. So I do teach a whole bunch of executives how to build these things. Montreal, I'm in Ottawa. Nice to meet you. Okay, this is the other Discord. And this one I highly recommend. This one is my favorite. So join all three, essentially. Yeah. And feel free to introduce yourself in all three. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about earlier. Here, we made the math. It comes out to be $100 for you per day. But, oh. Did this work? I've analyzed the code base, created a comprehensive plan. Okay. Nice. I think it worked. Okay, cool. Implement. Doom. Okay. Very fun. Okay, while this is running, I'm gonna read chat. Yeah, man. Welcome to the community. Let me know in the chat what you've been working on. What's your background, actually? Like, how did you get into AI development and all that? I've been to Montreal a couple of times in my life. When I say a couple of times, I mean twice. A lot more times at the airport, but last time I was there for a hackathon, and then the hackathon paid for my trip because I won second place, which is nice. Absolutely stunning city. There's no other city in North America that is as unique as Montreal. Deploy URL detector. Oh wow. I think I think I'm gonna need this. The URL detector should take into account the column's name as well. More so than the URL, because sometimes people have custom domains. Background is more NLP, earlier computer vision, work for large corps, found a startup too. Ooh. Which cloud model are you using here? Oh, nice to meet you, man. My model right now is I use Opus for planning, and then I use Claude Sonnet for writing code. And there's a mode in Claude Code that lets you set that. So there's the default mode, which uses Claude Sonnet to do both planning and executing, aka writing code. And then there's Opus mode, which is use Opus to plan and write, which is very expensive for most things. And then there's and then there's plan with Opus and write with Claude Sonnet. Would love to learn about my background too. So right now I'm unemployed. Actually, I should clarify that. So started a company last year. Building this like video first education platform. And then now I'm doing consulting here and there. I started a company also called AGI Ventures Canada, which we're hoping to become like a venture fund at some point. I'm also doing quite a lot of consulting, and I teach this thing on Maven. So I teach a agent bootcamp on Maven. I should stop telling people that I'm unemployed. I don't have a day job. That's what I'm trying to say. I advise a bunch of startups here in Ottawa. But yeah, like also became an investor recently. Yeah, I do a bunch of stuff. Yeah. That's why on a Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm chilling, working. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, not this one. Maven. Yeah, this is the course that I'm teaching. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. My name is this on LinkedIn. We'd love to, whenever I go to Montreal, hit you up, grab coffee or something, chat about AI type shit. But let's see. Now it's doing stuff. Okay. Uh-oh. Playwright. I don't use Playwright. We don't use Playwright. If you need stage and docs, it's included in your context, aka this one right here. Stagehand. Yeah, why is it using Playwright? Yeah, we're gonna do this one last thing and then we're gonna hop off. Hopefully it works. And I've ran my first custom Flash command. I don't think it saved me much time though. Also happy to chat. Like, how's life in Montreal? Would you recommend moving there? I've been thinking about moving to Montreal my whole life. Like, my whole life. I can work from anywhere, so. Montreal, one of the most beautiful cities on earth. Hands down. It's doing a lot. Why is it? It knows I use stage. That's not good. So eventually it's gonna run PNPM lint, which you'll see the errors and stuff, hopefully. I really want to play music on my stream, but I got flagged with copyright once. What do you like to do for fun, Mike? How do you spend your weekends other than watching streams and coding and all that stuff? Let me know in the chat. Feel free to talk, man. Like, there's like what 4 people watching right now. Before you, there was like 1 guy, which is cool. Like, we're just here chilling. You know what I mean? Like, I had no issues with that. I take what I can get. I'm just waiting for this to be done so I can tell it that I'm disappointed. I'm just waiting for it to be done with work so I can tell it that I'm disappointed in it. Okay, hurry up. You like hiking and kind of nerd, spend weekends on side projects. That's great, man. Keeps ourselves sane. It's such a great time to be building side projects too, because like all the things that used to be able, that used to like got me stuck on stuff. Now I can use AI to like help with like debugging. All of a sudden, these weekend projects feel more possible. Oh, Mike, if you free on September 9th or and September 7th, oh, September 6th and 7th, come to our hackathon in Ottawa. You are personally invited. For me, who actually runs the hackathon, we run this like every few months. This is the last one of the year. It's gonna be huge. But a bunch of people from Montreal are traveling, so if you're in Discord, you can ask in the AGI Ventures Discord who's traveling, if you need like a ride or something. You sound like an older guy, so you probably have a car. You can probably travel by yourself, but a bunch of people coming from Montreal, Toronto. It's gonna be like at least 500 people. We have. I personally went out and raised like over $20,000, which is, I don't know how I do it. I think I just learned how to sell when I became a founder. But before this, I was a developer. Oh my god, I'm still doing it. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. There's a prize for there are 2 tracks. So there's the vibe coding track and there's like the deep technical stuff. This company here called Solace, that they have this like open source event-driven agentic framework called SAM, and they're giving out $3,500 to teams or people who used it and build something around it. So you can win some cash, make new friends, and making new friends is probably like the most important thing. And yeah, welcome back, Testy Cool. You went out somewhere and then now you're back. How's your Saturday going, Testy Cool? Do you have any plans later today? I have plans later today. I forced myself to go on a run this morning, and I had to go into this building to use the bathroom where my ex is working, and I don't know if she's working today, but that building is where she works at. And yeah, I went on a run today, and then later today I'm gonna go to the beach with some of my friends. Really try and put myself out there to fill out my schedule, getting more connected with my people in my life, feeling more grateful. So I'm grateful you're here, Mike. I made a new friend today. Thanks a lot, appreciate it. You never learned web dev, and now we can do front end work using AI coding, exactly. So nice to know about the hackathon. I joined 2-3 hacks in a year, have won most of them. So you're one of those people who are very competitive. All right, we're gonna keep an eye on you then, because you're one of those sweaty people who are determined to win. That's all good. We welcome every level, and I'm sure you'll find like people of the same caliber. If not, you make new friends for sure. And if you're in Montreal, there's AI Tinkerers Montreal. Testicle is in Romania. It's 9:20. We're getting a website for a client. Do the same tomorrow. Work all the time. What's your life like? Tell me, do you have anything outside of work? Because that's something that I realized recently, that there was a time in my life I just worked 15 hours a day and then I did nothing else. And I was lucky that part of my work is community building. Because if I didn't have anything else other than work, this week I would have been incredibly depressed. But I hit up like basically 20, 30 people, and then my calendar has like lunch dates and lunch meetups with people until like September 20th, starting like yesterday. So like a full month of like catching up and like, you know. So I think once in a while we get reminded by like some things in our lives that happen, and kind of like makes us ask ourselves, like, do we actually have a network that can pick us up when we fall? It's very important, actually. So tell me in the chat if you have like anything else going on in life other than work, because life is quite can change pretty quick. Okay. So far so good. I'm just gonna go check this real quick. I'm hoping it'll run like Linter. Is it not Act? What is it called? Stagehand. Tomorrow, I'm actually hopping on a webinar with the community over at AI Jason. I don't know if you guys watch YouTube videos, but AI Jason is the guy who talks about like AI stuff. Very popular guy. Sometimes I get sponsors reaching out to me for YouTube videos, and they'd be comparing me to like AI Jason, stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not at that stage yet, but he's a very prominent YouTuber. But I just need the documentation right now. Yep. Testicle says, I don't have much outside of work. It's been like this for quite a while. Luckily, I learned to be friendly a while back and make effort to keep in touch with friends. Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. At least you're making an effort. There was a time in my life when I just cut people out because I was like, these individuals are not adding to my growth. So I'm just like going through my list and be like, you, not spending time with you anymore. But depends on how you look at it. Like, for me, it worked out, I think. I did it for a reason, even though we always look back at decisions that we make that are a little bit painful, and we're like, was it worth it? Obviously, we don't know the other side, right? But if you did it for a change, I think it's always worth it, because now you know what it's like to change. If you didn't do anything, nothing would have changed. That is a guarantee, right? So I think looking back on like things in the past, when there's a change, the change is usually for the better. A lot of times not for the better, but if it's not like life-threatening and shit like that, like, you know, obviously it's for the better. Because if you didn't change it, things sort of stay at course. If you weren't happy before, you would never be happy. At least when you change, you kind of get a shot at something different. So Mike says, I like attending meetups, all types, not just tech focus. Nice. Sometimes hate traveling so much, so miss a few. Wish there were more good events, people can connect better. Yeah, check out AI Tinkers in Montreal. Go to Ottawa. Ottawa, we try to host a lot of events now, so come out, hang out, try to get a community to engage. Yeah, community is very important. Back in the day, we have this thing called third spaces, right? So third spaces are places that people can just go to and bump into other people. Now we don't have that anymore. Like people don't go to like the town square, the town hall to like mingle. So you mingle in your local groups, like your office, kitchen, and whatever. which makes it hard to meet new people, right? So I used to make it a point to go and sit somewhere else to do work once in a while. So I would sit in like an art center or something and sit there and you do my computer work and just things unpredictable things happen, which is great. How did my friends not add to my growth? I think when you talk about like entrepreneurship with people who don't consider it, it's kind of like an energy black hole. Like you can tell them about how you're like staking everything on the line to get something going, and you like are so passionate about it, but they just don't get it because their plans are different. And not saying anyone's wrong or anything like that. It's just that if your path is unconventional, you're gonna find it. You can't find it in like the mainstream crowds. But if you find somebody you can like talk about it without holding back, I think that's a great sign of like the right crowd. And I found my crowd. It was just that the time when I leave, it was like kind of depressing because I'm like, especially the time when nothing was working. Now everything is working, but the time nothing was working, it was horrendous because I was poor as fuck. My savings was running out, and I was just starting a bunch of stuff. Nothing played out yet. Now everything played out, and I know what's working and what's not. And I'm pretty comfortable right now, but 2 years ago, a year ago, I was just like, what if they're right? They're not saying anything that is reassuring, and they don't know what it's like to go through that. So if you're a nerd, you talk to somebody who doesn't care about what you care about, then it could be tough, Is AI consulting these days not so profitable, getting hard competing internal employees? No, you just have to like niche down something. So like people like Hamel or like Jason Liu, like their stuff, like Jason Liu would be like RAG, right? And like Hamel would be like eval. So you get to work on like real problems at large scales that pays really well to solve problems that only you know how to solve. Or you bring a perspective that the organizations normally don't have. So if you are thinking about being an AI automation agency, that is really hard to compete because everybody can do that nowadays. You can watch a YouTube video about how to use Zapier and you can do that. But if you can fix a very specific problem that touches multiple parts of an organization or like a product roadmap, then that's great. So Thursday, I went on the consulting gig. It's for a local company here. I'm not gonna say anything much, but we were talking about like agentic coding agents and stuff like that. And I've been building a bunch of stuff like that. So I think my perspective was valuable. I was there for almost half a day. And I was riffing with people, like they were speaking my language. So it's actually fun. And, I give them some ideas of things to try and stuff like that. Yeah, I just think that, I just think that if you can find like real problems in an organization and then focus on getting your skill sets to be able to solve that problem, that's always useful. Yeah, so let me I have to figure out why is it .act here, and like why is it giving me these errors. It is .act, but it's actually page.act. Page.act. Page. Okay. Getting lint error in browser testing service around .act. Can you fix more docs here for considerations? Okay, go plan. So yeah, AI consulting is great, but you have to know your target demographic. My target demographic is like venture-backed startups, not like a boomer company that's trying to get people to use AI more. That's not my bread and butter. Because if I show up, I'll be very mean. And think about it, if what you're offering is what everyone else can offer, let's say that you build like a naive retrieval system, then it's hard to compete. Yeah, and the prices goes down pretty quick. You said that at the start, but if you're like me, where I'm like, okay, I'll look at your retrieval system and then I'll pinpoint to you where the inefficiencies are, and you can try different techniques to like improve it, and then we'll have like a framework to kind of like measure whether or not your accuracy rate, your F1 or whatever, is gonna go up. Then obviously I'm driving business KPIs, right? So that's obviously more valuable than somebody who's like, I'm just in here to like write code. Like, that's not what I do. I do that sometimes, but not like, that's not where most of my value comes from. You said that at the start things weren't working out and then things changed. Oh man, it was a blur. I think in life it's always like this. It'll be flat for like a while, and then all of a sudden everything just works. Everything just works all together at once. I don't know why. It's like a rule in life. It's just like in the beginning it's just flat. Nothing really changes. Once in a while there's something that stirs things up, but then all of a sudden just everything just takes off. And when that happens, don't be surprised. But you have to put in the work. It happens to everybody I know. It happens to everybody that I look up to. Just nothing for a long time, and then all of a sudden everything just takes off. Everything. And I say that with a sense of bittersweet because I feel bad for my younger self. That's the hard part about being a founder, right? Because like if you know it's gonna suck for 2-3 years, then you can strap yourself in and like brace yourselves and take it one day at a time. But the problem with entrepreneurship is that you don't really know how long it's gonna take. It could take 2 weeks, 6 months, or 10 years before it gets better, which is quite annoying. Yeah, stagehand.page. That's what I need. I see it's like you say it's like when you're working on a hard problem all day, you have to put in the hours and sweat until you find a solution. I think you just have to not burn yourself out, and I burn myself out over and over again. And I used to think that's not a problem until you have other people in your life that you care about, and it starts to affect them, like your time spending with them. So I would do that all the time. I would work extremely hard and then get a crazy burnout and then take a week off and then go back and do it again for like a year or so or more than a year. And I get so much done. But I would go through this cycle of like, I am so inspired to do stuff. I do a bunch of stuff and then I get so burnt out, and then I'm like, I hate everything, take a week off, and then I go back. Okay, now I'm well rested. Everything feels great. I'm going to just go 0 to 100 again. If you're by yourself, it's great. Like, it's the thrill, you know what I mean? Getting shit done, not have to tell anybody what you're up to. But if your life requires you to be a certain way so that you can allow other people to enter your life, then you can't do that. It's very unstable unless you find somebody who understands that, which is very rare. So if you can bet that you can find somebody who understands that, then you'll be like Elon Musk or something. But if you can't, let's say you want to integrate yourself with society normally, then probably not a good idea. Will that hinder your growth, your full potential? Probably, but then you get to explore other aspects of life, I guess. Mike says, oh man, I feel burned out. Only sick days help me recover. If you work until you're sick to take sick days, that's not good, man. I'm telling you, I work crazy hours, but I'm also like, I gotta take care of myself too. Like, I got a fitness plan. I eat certain way. I just follow Brian Johnson. Like, that takes the planning out of my head. but you gotta feel your body and your mind so that you can go do this for a long term. So the goal is not to like die. The goal is to get to do this for as long as possible. That's the name of the game. The game is not about like get it done and then move on. No, the game is you get to do this for as long as you can. You know, to do that, you have to take care of a lot of different things in life other than just banging out code and be productive. And a lot of times I find myself feeling guilty not working. But then, and part of that comes from this fear that sometimes I can't get myself to start. I don't know why I commit and push that. Yeah. Sometimes I can't get myself to start. That's why when I start, I'm afraid that if I stop, it'll be hell to start again. Because I have trouble starting things. Like I have like ADHD or something. So once I'm like productive, it's hard for me to say like, you know what, for my mental health, I should probably take a break. I'm like, I gotta capitalize on this moment, otherwise it'll be away. It'll go away. Okay, so part of our CLI application allows us to authenticate with our own GitHub, so that we can make connections. I'm just gonna hide this right now, so that we can clone people's repos by hitting the GitHub API. Actually, I don't think we need that, actually. We used to need that. So, Mike, you're new here, but we used to build this application, and whenever I need to like clone my students' repos and then like analyze it, I used to hit the GitHub API endpoint, which is heavily rate limited and extremely slow when done recursively to get all the files out of the subdirectories, stuff like that. When I switched to doing a sandbox and running Unix commands and then do like tree command and stuff like that, it's like instantaneous. So I don't think we actually need GitHub tokens anymore because I don't use that for anything. When you're cloning a public repo, you don't need a GitHub token. So, but I'm just gonna make one. Actually, I don't have to make one. I'm just gonna enter without it. Actually. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to our screen here. Gonna press enter. Oh, it won't let me through. Skip. Oh, S. Okay. So now we can choose a model. I usually go with this cheapest one, and then we're gonna hook it up to our Notion database. So this is where I store my data, essentially. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to put in some bogus web applications. Forgot to do that. So here. Let me find the thing again. Okay. I'm gonna create a new column here. I'll call it insert right. I'll call this deployed apps. Where'd it go? Where the hell did it go? That's weird. Insert right, text, deployed apps. I think this should be URL actually. URL, and then I'm just gonna find random applications. So maybe get a product hunt. I'm just gonna pick random products to put in here. Boom. Man, this shit laggy. Why is DeepSeek on here? Why is Rippling on here? This is why Product Hunt is so fucked up right now, because you don't find like indie stuff anymore. You find like, I don't know, like OpenAI like is launching on Product Hunt. It's like, why would you let that happen? So the point here is that I want to be able to put these apps on here and like let my browser agent go to those apps and try them out, instead of I have to try them out. Okay, I'm gonna need a few more. Product hunt. Nice. Heard about Brian Johnson's blueprint. How you found it? I just followed the open source protocol. I never bought blueprint, but John Carmack actually has blueprint. He says it on X recently. And did you see John Carmack's new photo? It's quite funny. Legendary. Oh wow. Yeah, so he got buff. Let me find one more and then I'll run this test. I'll put that in my Notion. Okay, we got 3 apps. 3 apps, and I need to restart this connection because it's not up to date. Okay, so it's connected to Notion. Press T to test. Press enter to continue with Notion data processing. That's what I want. Okay, so I can see the database now. I can say homework. Yeah, short 2, and then I press G to grade. So if I press G, it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna spin up a sandbox, and then clone a whole bunch of URLs, GitHub URLs in there, GitHub projects in there, and then grade them very quickly. And now here's my new stuff. Repository analysis complete. Would you like to test deploy applications? Yeah. Browser testing. Okay. Yes. Please don't. Just okay. Deploy apps. High confidence. 100%. Yeah. There you go. That's great. Deploy apps. Okay. We got our browser instance up. Okay. Ready to test 3 deploy applications. Okay. Max concurrent tab 10. Okay. Action. Okay. Let's press enter to start. Okay. I need to tell Cloudcode that just freaking do it. Couple of changes, and then I'm gonna say we don't need to press enter to start. We don't need to require user to press enter to start testing with browser. Just start when send browser session is available. Also, at the grading stage, we can ask user whether or not they want to grade the code or test the app on browser. Yeah, that's good. Okay, press enter. Okay, it failed all the tests. Okay. Unknown error 429. You've exceeded your burst limit. 5 requests per 1. What? You serious? Serious? 5 requests per 1 minute. Let me try again. Okay. But these are... Oh, because like for stagehand, we're sending multiple requests to it, right? So obviously it's only 3 URLs, but it's more than 3 actions. We gotta like navigate, act, I'm assuming. And without having to sit here and guess what's going on, we can go to that session and see what happened. Today's 23rd, right? Yep. Oh, what the freak? Nothing happened. That sucks. That really sucks. Okay. Okay, that's horrible. Finally, we have an error here when trying to test through URLs. And then paste it in, and then plan mode. Yep. Okay. How extensive can the testing can work? Did you have to define some config? Yeah, it's like a prompt. So Stagehand allows you to use an LLM to power an agent to control a browser. This browser being hitless. But once we have a proper session spin up, it's gonna look something like this. Like I can go through and like do stuff. But yeah, have got an idea from this. Maybe whenever, my god, maybe whenever our devs deploy the dev sites, we can use browser-based to automate testing the app. Yes. Hope it's not too expensive. No, it will be expensive. But compare that not to like your SaaS subscription, but to how much you pay your developers per hour. Is it less expensive than $90 an hour? Probably. That's $90 you're saving if you're paying like half a dollar. You know? Don't think about yeah. Don't think about like that in comparisons to like OpenAI tokens. Think about that versus the time, your engineering time spent. Okay. Let me check browser base limits. Session creation limit per minute. Nice. Happy to hear, man. Let me know what movie you watched in the Discord. Have a good weekend. Okay, developer startup scale. Okay, developer plan. Oh yeah, hold on. Let me send you the repo in case you don't have it. So it's right here. And put it in chat. There you go. Hope you haven't slept yet, but yeah. Have a great day ahead, Mike. Okay, what the hell was it doing? Oh, this. I want to give it. Here's some docs for limits on browser base / stagehand. If not, we have to pay $20. $20. But we create one session. Why 5? no new page. This is Mintlify, which is quite nice. Ooh, screenshots too. I can take screenshots of my students' apps and then view it for myself. Where's new page? I don't see it anywhere. New tab in stagehand. Multi-tap. Maybe this is what I need. To read some more about taps in browser base. Read this. Yep. I wonder who's watching right now. I really wonder who's watching right now. Okay. New page. Okay, gotcha. Here we go. I've been sleeping so poorly, but I have so much energy to work out, which is, I think it's just my cortisol level is very high. That's why I'm like tired, but also pumped up. But one day my cortisol level is gonna go down, and then my body will pay its toll, and be like, finally I can rest, and then I'll be so exhausted on like a random day. So while this is running, I'm gonna do some research on something else. Am I watching right now? Okay, somebody's watching right now. So I'm running this, and then what I'm gonna do is performative mail contest. Try to enter a performative mail contest. This person won. Yeah, they looked apart. Alamo Square thronged with hundreds of young, identically dressed men on Friday night. Labubu saying from the belt loop and feminist literature in the tote bags. Passerbys wonder if there was a concert or strangely if a poetry reading happening. But no, this was a meme-inspired contest to crown the city's most performative man. I should have won, everybody. Should have been me. How do you spot a performative male? Look for a tote bag. As a new archetype gains traction, contest in Seattle and New York. New York have found men embracing the label. Labubus. Early in human history, I assume men figured out that they could woo women by adopting their interests. It's not hard to imagine that a caveman enamored by a painter would dip his own hairy finger in the paint bucket, or a Roman might spend a little extra time at the temple of Minerva to impress a religious crush. The performative male reads Jane Austen and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Listen to Clario. Drinks matcha and prefers analog media. He is sensitive, stylish, and bespectacled. That's a cool word. Does it exist? Oh, wearing eyeglasses. Okay. He is willing. He is also willing to do anything, become anyone, to get laid. Sounds about right. This kind of guy might have been called a poser or a hipster in earlier eras. They are tryhards, trendsters, cloaked in the signifiers of nice guys. As the persona has solidified the internet memes of the past few months, men in their early 20s have embraced them, entering contests to determine the most performative in the cities of New York, Seattle, and Toronto. Yeah. Sounds about right. It's a matcha. Yeah. She had to help coach a friend on how to win the buffet. Oh my god. But in true performative male style, he let her down. He had to work and couldn't make it. She was so disappointed that she decided to host her own contest. Oh my god. Oh man. Matcha. Two pairs of headphones. The soundtrack to my healing. Since I have the platform. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send this to my organizers group. I think we're gonna host one for a fundraiser. This is so ridiculous. Okay, this is done. Let me try this again. Okay, sweet. Let's run this again. Okay, we got this here running. Skip, flashlight. Okay, it's loading. The server is cold starting, that's why it's taking forever. What would you do? Enter this one. G. What? I thought it changed. it's still automatically clone repos and create the code before user had the option to choose between code grading and browser testing. Okay. 2. I don't want to press Y to set up. And then the item to plan to change it so it's not needed once the user decides that they want browser testing. Just start it. Okay, press Y. That column. Please don't. Oh no, it failed. Oh, this one didn't fail. Okay, doing something. And we can watch the session later on. Oh, we can watch it now. Ooh, multiple tabs. Let's go. Wait, why is it? Is it done? Okay. We went to that website. It's good. I have 3 pages in the same session. That's great. That's great. It didn't do much though. But at least it worked. Failed test 2. So the other ones failed. Save screenshots. Okay, let me check the screenshot. See if they're actually interesting. Okay. Okay. Nice. Let me just copy all this shit in there. Okay. Start this first. Plan mode. There's the browser testing stuff seems to work half the time, but still failed sometimes. Here's the log from the server, from our app. All right, I think I'm gonna take a break now. So I'm gonna hop off.